Welcome to the Full Send Rejects, the podcast where you never know what's going to happen next because we really have no clue. I am your host, Kodak,
And I'm the other Kodak.
and this episode is sponsored by air conditioning. You might hear AC run in the background. We usually turn it off, but we are what's underneath what scientists call a heat dome.
Yeah, it's not nice.
No, heat domes suck.
It is really warm. No matter how cold we try to make the house, it is just not comfortable.
So far, every time I've gone to my car at work this week, it raised over 100 degrees.
Yep. I turned my car about 15 minutes before the end of my shift.
I don't.
And it reads about 112.
What sucks, or what's kind of fucked, is when I go start my car to leave, my car is hot, like so hot inside. I put down my windows, like, oh, this 90-degree air feels so good right now.
And we also have a habit of heat dome vacations.
Yeah, so we went to Florida last year for honeymoon, where they experienced a heat dome. Now, I'm no meteorologist, but if I hear Florida plus heat dome, I think bad time.
Oh, yeah. We definitely did have a miserable experience because it was the hottest.
Temperature-wise, yeah.
Yes, because it was the hottest day that we were down there, and we decided to do Epcot
I mean, I enjoyed Epcot.
until you got to Mexico.
Yeah, listen, I'm for people having their best life, but when I got to Mexico and Epcot, I started thinking ICE might have a point.
This is how we get canceled.
Well, no, it was my own fault for getting that jalapeno drink when I was already fucking tossed.
Yeah.
I was, a little sideways that time. But speaking of getting sideways, we have our Gettysburg trip that we're going to recap here. Last episode, we kind of, hinted towards it. And we're both going to have episode here and then on our Distilled podcast, talk about the more historical or actual battle itself. But for here, we're just going to talk about our trip in Gettysburg.
Our experience, our trip, what was our favorite parts, and just kind of just go from there.
The things some of us remember, the things some of us will remind us of.
I mean, all in all, it's just, I think that we're going to end up having quite a few episodes from Gettysburg because it's not just the battle, it's the families that were, affected, the town itself, and
Oh, you're
everything
talking
else.
about for Distilled?
For both, anything.
Yeah, this might be a little like mini series because, not to jump ahead, but we bought a couple books.
Yep.
That's the top of the book you got me already. Or I want to incorporate some of that into the history episodes, which is already fucking long.
Oh, yeah.
And the plan is there, like I said, is I'm just throw the microphone. I'm going to go about an hour, find a good stopping point, and that's going to be it. So be sure if you want the history outlook on it, look out for that.
Yeah, kind of tune into Distilled History if you're really interested in anything Gettysburg.
Yeah, and some of those historical things we're going to touch on in this episode because we saw a lot of stuff.
We did. And if it's intriguing, then that gives you more incentive to want to listen to it. But this is something that we have been talking about doing for years.
The entirety of our relationship.
The entirety of, we had a bucket list of things we wanted to do, and Gettysburg was on that list, and we've been, every year we're like, we're going to do this, and it just didn't make the cut.
Someone just had to get pregnant and want to get married.
I mean, excuse me? Somebody had to go buy a house because someone knocked me up and then asked me to marry them.
I'm sorry I asked you to marry me. Sorry I love you, miss. I forget my reading sometimes.
You're such a dick.
I'm sorry that I'm not one of these Schuylkill County hood rats who's like, oh, I got someone pregnant. Ditch.
No. But our lives have been so busy. You gotta think we did have one thing after another. We did all these big things that you do as an adult in such a small, compact time frame. And then,
we have savings accounts.
And last year, our big thing was our honeymoon. So it kind of ate up everything that we had for any extra financial activities that would, So here we are this year. And
I also literally just got hired last year too.
Yeah, you just got that job and everything else, and you finished school. Like, everything just fell into place, and it was kind of like we just sat there and was like, we should do this. Let's book it. And we did. And then here we are, and the weekend was absolutely amazing. Outside of the heat exhaustion and almost stroke.
Yeah, it got a little sketchy there at first.
Yeah, so
a couple of times.
So
let's break it down.
let's break it down.
First of all, the drive down there wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't. I was expecting it to be a little longer.
I mean, it probably helped we had a little pit stop in Hazleton. To me, from a pit stop, drive just seemed quicker.
Yeah.
Even though you add like 20 minutes onto something, it just seems quicker.
Yeah. It was like a good halfway point too.
Yeah. Because it's like, what, a 3-hour drive from here?
Yeah, so about in Hazleton's about an hour from here, so it was a good little refresher.
And then we got down there, we got checked in the hotel, which I wasn't that big of a fan of.
No.
Considering every day we had like, hey, our AC during this heat dome isn't working.
Yeah,
It's 78 degrees in our room.
I don't know if it just like kicks off or but they were saying like they were having a reset. They had to go up there and like reset it, and it was just so like you were just hoping to go into a room and just be.
And not just that, but certain plumbing wasn't that great.
Our room was great.
No, our plumbing, well, near the end, it was kind of a little sketchy. But in their room, I'm glad I didn't go number 2. Because it was... Whew.
Our room was definitely better than theirs.
Yeah, but then like when we were down at breakfast the last day, and I ran to the bathroom real quick, plumbing wasn't the best there either. It was a little sketchy. A little sketch.
I mean, it's an old building.
Yeah.
But
don't get me wrong, the inside...
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The bar was amazing. The restaurant was delicious. So we get down there. We got ourselves checked in.
Which they let us check in early, which was nice.
Yeah. You never know if it's going to happen or not, but I'm glad it worked out for us. Because did we try checking? No, we had lunch first at that Irish pub. I told myself I was going to write down the names of these places.
It was called the Pub.
Just the pub. I'm so fucking good. So fucking good. And I'm pretty sure we all went in there expecting to get something, and we all getting burgers.
Yeah. Well, the waitress was really good at talking everything up.
Yeah, she really
had good salesmanship.
Well, because I was going to get a chicken sandwich because, we're trying to be healthier here.
Yep.
And then she's somewhat, sorry, long COVID. They call this razor throat now. So yes, listeners, I still have disease. We will fight through this. Anyhow. But yeah, I had the buffalo burger, which was really good. A little spicy. I'm supposed to be avoiding spice for the month, but vacation decided to treat myself. You had the
farmhouse burger. It was
excellent.
Yeah, it wasn't with like lettuce or tomato. It was like a protein burger. It had an egg, ham, cheese, and then the patty. And it was really good. I mean, I love a good dippy egg on a burger. So that kind of like provided just the perfect combination. Of course, I couldn't eat it all. And then I got the sweet potato fries that were
They were delicious.
And you could tell they were fresh, like handmade. They weren't just
Well, they get everything from like locally sourced.
Yes.
It's none of this, let's go to some restaurant or some store and mass buy a bunch of frozen shit. No.
Like Alina's applesauce you could tell, like you could taste the freshness. And she also ended up getting a little mini cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And then Cole got a classic bacon cheeseburger.
And you can even look at these burgers and know they're like handmade.
Yeah, they're not frozen patties.
Yeah, they're not no perfect circles, no squares. They were just kind of just put together.
And the sides are like homemade chips. Like they make their own chips in house. They're like, you could tell like the potatoes they're not all the same size and same shape, and they're just, you can taste the crispiness of the potato.
Excellent restaurant. Did I have beverage there?
You did. You had the blueberry spritzer.
Oh my, I think it was so fucking good. I had two
of
them.
It was like blueberry liqueur with frozen blueberries topped with champagne.
I think there's like wine in there too or something.
The champagne.
The champagne's just classy wine.
Yes, it's the bubbly wine like you would drink on New Year's.
Huh.
Or with
I always thought champagne was different from wine because it comes from the area of Champagne in France.
It's different, but not too different. It's just more carbonated than wines.
So it's soda wine.
Yeah, something like that. But it was delicious. You had like 2 of them?
Yeah, I had 2 of them. Yeah. And some water for health.
Yeah. But it was a good break. Like when we just got there, we did a little shopping, and then we stumbled upon Mason-Dixon Line Distillery.
Yeah, because we went shopping around first, right? Or do we check in and then go shopping?
No, we parked because we didn't know where to go, and then we put some coins in the machine, and then we ate lunch, and then we still had some time, so we went next door.
Now, when you say we didn't know where to go,
I didn't know where to go. So sorry, I don't know how to Gettysburg. It was my first time there.
I went from like, all right, vacation mode. Nothing's gonna bother me. Go this way, but we got go this way, but we gotta go this way.
You were driving. You could have said, "Shut up, passenger, driver."
Fine. You know what? Next time I will say. Next time I'm like, shut your mouth. I'm driving.
Do it respectfully, not like an asshole.
Please shut your goddamn mouth.
Woman, know your place.
Or in Gettysburg, I just wish it was still the 1860s.
You remember when this town didn't have rights?
Yeah.
So, but we ended up going to, as we had time on the meter, we ended up killing it by going to right next door to this little souvenir shop.
A little souvenir shop. By the way, can we just talk about the guy who worked there? The fucking cowboy guy.
Oh my God, he reminded me of Tiger King.
Yeah, that's actually very, very good. Yeah, good descriptor. Just his voice is like how enunciated things.
Yes, the way he enunciated things, his whole getup, his whole look. He didn't look like he belonged in Gettysburg. He looked like he belonged in the Confederacy.
Yeah, that was someone in Robert E. Lee's army, or maybe someone who defended the Alamo, but not like with a gun, but like help
But
like
he
give
was super
food.
sweet.
It was very nice.
And I have to say, every shop we ever went to, everybody was so sweet. Like even at the hotel, customer service was top notch. But yeah, we ended up going shopping, and we stumbled upon a sign that said free samples.
And here's the thing: usually when they see free samples, you get a couple,
one or
maybe,
two.
Yeah, one or two.
This guy was letting us try every single thing there.
Yeah, he did not stop. He did not care.
Along with their beers, they're like cocktail specialty beers.
Yeah, and we tried 4 different beers. I can't remember the names of them. I'm sure you have. I know it was like a root beer something.
There was like cream soda.
There was a strawberry ale, I think.
There was a strawberry one. There was the lavender.
The margarita we tried.
Yeah, but we didn't like that one. The lavender lemonade.
Yeah, that was fucking delicious.
And then we got some kind of peach and nectar lemonade or something. And all the drinks, like what I mean, there was one with a jalapeno, but it didn't taste like jalapeno. You just tasted the flavor of a jalapeno without the spice. But it wasn't bad. There wasn't no bad flavors.
No, and then try like what the liquor side, their cinnamon whiskey was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Their peach bourbon wasn't that bad. And then you tried their
I got the brown sugar bourbon old fashioned.
Yeah, and that was delicious.
It was sweet. It had like a hint of orange, because like most old fashions have that orange citrus, kind of like a Blue Moon, to where but it was just enough. And I'm not a dark liquor drinker, so for me,
come on, our third date you signed the bottle of Jim Beam.
Okay, that's why I don't like dark liquor, because the darker it is.
That was me. Third date.
Oh, third date. That was definitely you. But
jeez, you have a couple shots. You can't remember things now.
No.
First, you don't wear your ring, and now like
my ring is on, sir. It is on. I make sure to. Sometimes I get out of the shower and I don't put it on immediately. It's
okay.
Bite me, like
as the French say, 1 is the loneliest number.
The one day I didn't put it on, I came home, and like you put your ring on the counter next to mine, and I was like, this motherfucker. I knew he was. As soon as I left and I'm on the way to work and I didn't have it on, I'm like, no, he's gonna make a spectacle out of this. And you did exactly what I thought, like the drama in it. You're so dramatic with it. But however,
I'm such a cam.
Yeah, but it was good. All the whiskeys were good, and we walked around, did some shopping.
Yeah, because it was that shop. Shop was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then
spent a lot of money.
Spent a lot of money at that liquor place. First of all,
we did
about $100-some.
I mean, you spent a lot of money on the jerky place too.
We'll get there. Because where do we go next? I know at some point went back and like checked in and took her things up, and then went back out shopping again.
Yeah.
So now I got to think of this. So we went that way. No, after that store, didn't we go back and try and check in?
Yeah, we went to go see. We moved our car to the parking garage.
Oh yeah.
And then the alley where the parking garage was the back of the hotel, and it was really hot. And we're like, well, maybe we could see if we can check in while we're here and grab our bags since we're parked. And we were able to do that. And then once we put our stuff away, we were excited to walk around and
So I'm going to pause right now and say, while we have recording proof, so I can remember what this is, I'm going to take off these socks for working out.
Oh yeah, the workout socks.
And put them right next to the controller for the Xbox.
Okay. But yeah, so once we got in the room and we checked in and we put everything away,
went back out, and then we went up the street.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of neat stores.
It wasn't just,
history things. There was like,
I mean, there was a lot of history stuff, but there was a lot of like comic book stores.
the comic book store, probably not like the best one I've been into, but they sold a lot of stuff. It was actually one of those few comic book stores that actually have more comics than anything else.
Yeah.
The collectibles, were pretty neat, but sometimes I want to actually buy comics, then I realize I pay a decent amount of money on their apps just so I have all of it. So maybe one day when there's like ones I want to like actually have,
The ones that are gonna,
I also saw the prices of them, and I know the prices that we have around here in our comic book stores, and there were a lot more. Because like here, you can get them for like $1, $2. A lot of theirs is like $5, $10.
Well, you got to think it's a tourist town where everything is kind of like priced up.
That's what, because I had the thought like, ooh, maybe I'll just pick some random ones so I can have them. And I saw the prices, and I'm like, I know what this weekend is about to be. I ain't doing this shit now.
We also went to a candy store and a chocolate store.
The candy store was pretty neat.
Alina was literally a kid in a candy store.
Shark.
Or she ended up getting, she loved everything. But we got a good amount of things for the kids in there.
Yeah, I got
the soda
for the Fallout fans. Yeah, the Nuka-Cola. I don't know if my taste buds are changing once again, but it was very sour for me. And then I realized, I looked at the bottle, it said extra sour kick. I'm like, there it is.
I got a birch beer because I just love birch beer.
Yeah, birch beer is fucking fantastic.
I love it. I don't know what it is about it, but I prefer birch beer over root beer, and I love root beer.
Yeah, birch beer is superb compared to root beer. Ain't shit compared to birch beer.
I love it, but it was just so hot, you constantly needed hydration.
Oh yeah, and what's better hydration than carbonated soda?
I mean, it was just something cold to put in your mouth.
Didn't we go out to another store on that side of the street? I feel like we popped in somewhere.
There was a couple of stores.
I'm like trying to remember the trip up the street. Started coming down, we stopped in the chocolate store.
Well, we kind of popped in like every other store. There was that Civil War memorabilia stuff that you were in forever.
Oh, that was like later in the day though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think at this point in time. Maybe not, because I know we came back down, stopped in the chocolate store. Your face when you realized some of those chocolates were alcoholic chocolates.
Oh my God, where are those?
I put them away. They're safe. They're not going to melt.
No, I was worried about, are they somewhere?
They're up high.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that they were expensive too.
They're in my cabinet where no one else can reach.
Okay, I can't even reach. But I didn't realize. I thought they were like inspired. I didn't realize that they were alcoholic chocolates.
Yeah.
Which would be a nice little treat.
I know the one is good. The one I got, only because, and this is going to sound horrible, and a great expose of fireworks of what our medical system is like. When I used to work at the hospital, one of the pharmacists sometimes came in with this kind of chocolate, and it was late. I'm not going to handle myself, but I had a few. And they were good.
Are they strong?
They're not that strong, no. But I mean, if you have enough fucking alcoholic edible, whatever, you're eventually gonna feel. Like I had a few pieces, and it's just good. Like you can get a buzz. Plus, it's chocolate. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too big on that, but I just a sweet treat once in a while would be nice. But we went to a couple of different places. We passed a lot of the brew places that we ended up eventually going. But with the kids,
that comes later in the episode. Yeah, the kids were not going to the pub.
But we went to more souvenir places and popped in and got a few things for the kids. And
I know we stopped. Oh, yeah, there was that actual souvenir store at the corner of that street.
Yep.
Cole got some things.
Cole got the weirdest things. Like he got the hat, the pins, the Abraham Lincoln socks.
He's such a tourist.
He was such a tourist. he was living his best life. But he got all these like little knickknacks and things, and he was having a good time.
Yeah. And that was a nice little store. And then we went to a daddy store,
Yeah.
the jerky outlet.
I mean, Cole had a good time in the jerky outlet.
Oh yeah, he threw some onto that bill. But oh my god, I had the first one today, where it was that black cherry brisket. Oh my god, it was so fucking good.
I can't wait to see Alina's face when she eats the shark jerky.
Shark, here you go.
But like, you got shark, you got alligator.
I got the alligator actual jerky stick. I got the rattlesnake jerky, and then just a bunch of different flavors and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, someone asked me today, "What's the weirdest thing you ate?" And I'm like, I mean, there's kangaroo, camel, toe, elk, just a bunch of different meats. Yeah, I don't know what weird is at this point.
Yeah.
I just like meat. That shit that we made in Ohio.
Yeah. Camel balls.
Oh yeah, camel balls. Yeah. For the listeners, I just made camel meat into meatballs.
Yep.
Which were fucking delicious.
Yeah, it was good. Little gamey, but good.
Yeah. I thought it's the one you guys didn't like.
I don't remember which one
it was. Like, because I got elk and then camel.
One was really gamey.
I know, because the camel me and Shane like, but you and Brianna did not like.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah. I saw those alligator sausages to make.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring those in the 4th. Or to the beach.
Or to the beach. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will walked around, did a little bit of shopping, and then
yeah, because that's all that I think we went back because they were getting close.
Because
we were at a point. It's like, all right, we're shopping. It's like we could go do something, like go see something, but it was like we're gonna go and have to come right back.
Mm-hmm.
It was whatever. We made the most of it, and they got there, gone to their room, CJ and Nicole, and then the Christmas shop, whatever. Yeah. Or no, the little shop with all Disney stuff. We're in there too. It's very neat.
Oh, I forgot to tell you.
Tell me now. I'll record.
You
authentic reactions.
You know that Beauty and the Beast figurine that I was obsessed with?
Yeah.
Nicole bought it on the last day. She went back and got it because she knows how much I loved it.
Oh, that's nice.
I started tearing up. It's at the office. I didn't bring it home yet because each day I had to, between loading up these last couple hot days have been, I wasn't carrying anything out that I needed to outside the kids.
The heat ruins everything.
It makes you forget.
This heat makes me kind of respect the Middle East a little bit more. Because they dress like head to toe just covered. I know it's not everywhere, but like it makes me respect their way of life a lot more. Same with like Arizona.
Yeah. That's dry heat. They really don't have the humidity.
Yeah. Well, I guess a lot of Middle East has dry heat too. Just like Morocco.
The humidity is what fucks you up. But we did a little bit of shopping with Nicole and CJ. Walked more down the strip.
Well, you first took Nicole. I'm pursuing her to that store. I'm like, hey, CJ, so you want to try some free alcohol?
Yeah.
And then, because like we did that, took him to that place. He bought something, brought those beers back to our room that actually had a refrigerator. And I think we went to the one pub. Yeah, the one we ended up going to when we all went out. Which smelled like mildew, but of course I went for their strongest beer. It was like an 8.2% Pine Grove. Pretty good. I forgot what he got. And then
the Relax and Replenish.
Yeah, that one. And we had those. And like, all right, let's go find you guys. Which you were at outside of some games, like board game store.
It was Nerd Dome or something, where it was just a bunch of unique board games, and it was just a really cool nerdy store. When Nicole were playing the
giant chess.
Giant chess.
Yeah. And that's like I remember like me and CJ walking down. I'm like, all right, I know they're down this street because like I know we didn't go down that street yet. And then I saw like the orange. I'm like, that has to be it. And boom, that was a neat little store. And then we started walking more down, and then we found the Civil War memorabilia store, memorable store. Yeah, I almost bought a sword.
You were looking at everything. You were like, I have a credit card. I have a few credit cards.
Yeah,
I can afford this. And I was like,
the only thing that stopped me from buying an authentic Civil War sword was it was from Ohio. That was the only, because I think it was like $470 or something. Probably could have haggled down a little bit, but I'm like, oh, this is Ohio. What was neat, I also found a hatchet that's very similar to one that we have.
Yeah.
It was like $300-$400. I was like, ah,
Do I need this weapon?
oh no, I'm never. That's a weapon my Pat made. Never going away.
But I'm saying, like, you're in the store and you're looking at all these, like, Civil War weapons, and, like, I mean, I can understand buying a piece of that history, like a bullet or something that was used in
I
that
wanted a
time.
fucking sword.
But you wanted the fucking sword, which I was like, I mean, I get it. But if we had a room or a bait, like, up where you can put all these cool, expensive, unique items and mount them on a wall, where
We have wall space.
a feral child wouldn't try to.
We have wall space right over there. Out, hanging right up on bedroom wall.
Okay, you got me there. But I'm just talking for, like, something like that you're gonna want to put on display.
Oh yeah.
And
Refurbish, get it refurbished a little bit, which also costs money,
Mhm.
and make it look real nice, and then just put it somewhere.
It's only 3 hours away. If it's something that you really want and it's something you dwell on, then we'll make another trip down there, because there's a lot of stuff that we didn't get to see because of the heat.
Yeah.
A lot of the extra house tours and the families and stuff that really wanted to see. But I mean, we did a lot.
I will get a sword one day.
You will.
There's a few times I said during this, like, if we had a lot of money, I'm buying dumb shit like this.
Yeah. But after that, we did a little more shopping. And then when we went to dinner,
Well, I think first, no, ice cream came after dinner, right?
ice cream came after dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, we walked around. Yeah, walked through more stores. I know there's one where I had a few books I was looking at, but I still have to finish the one, which shows I do have restraint there. Okay, just throwing that out there. And then, yeah, we were put on a wild goose chase for an Italian restaurant.
If you think about it, it wasn't that long. It was just really hot, so it seemed like it was forever. But walking back, it really didn't take us that long.
No, because it was cool.
See?
But the walk there sucked.
It did. Because it was peak. It was like that evening heat, and it was just like the sun wasn't.
The feel was over 100, and I was carrying a 30-pound child.
35.
Yeah. So
But it was like humidity, and it wasn't like sun. The sun was.
My
beaming.
head was a spinning.
But when we got there, the food was really good.
And I told you, if this food is delicious, we won't fight. I held it in.
But the food was delicious.
Which again shows restraint on this end. And I was like, all right, you win. Food was good. Yep. All right. We're good.
You had a few beers. You had a beautiful pasta dish. The pizza that we ordered for Alina was delicious.
Oh, it was so fucking good. I was happy it was.
It came in clutch for you.
At some point later
in the trip.
We're not sure exactly when, but it did.
But it was really good.
Oh, yeah, it was top tier. And I did say I'm going to get a pizza at some point when I'm hammered. Because I hit vacation mode. I said, I don't give a fuck if we're in Manhattan or Gettysburg. We hit there, fucks are gone.
It's happening.
Yeah. We're turning up.
So, yeah, but after we came back from dinner, we walked around just a little more, got ice cream.
Yeah. Well, you guys got ice cream.
You and CJ went back to went to a different bar.
Well, here's the thing. The ice, it was so funny. You guys went in there, and me and CJ went around real quick, and we're like, well, first of all, the barbecue got me intrigued. I was like,
But then you guys saw the bar.
And we saw a bar, and I think it was, might be. I'm like, yeah, there's a bar. And we're sitting there walking in, and we're like hitting the glass trying to get his attention, and we're just walking forward like, oh, this building connects. So we went over, had, I think we both had a beer, and I had a whiskey called Monkey Shoulder. Not one of the best ones I've had, but it was good. But it was actually it was cheap.
Yeah.
Even like cheaper whiskeys at a bar could be like $15, $16. It was just $10.
Yeah.
The bartender, bless her soul. Bless her soul. I mean, she has several times. What'd you get? which I'd rather be asked than get something wrong. But they also did her dirty because she said, "Oh, hey, the menus don't match what's actually here." And we're like, "Okay, what's that tap? The taps don't actually match what's in the beer."
She
so
said that at the other place too.
yeah, I think she might have been a little ditzy.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was just her way of saying, "I don't know what is what, but I'll give you what I remember."
Yeah, it was not great, but whatever. Um, it was good. It was a premiere or preview what was to happen.
Yep. Well,
But
because after that, after that, we kind of wrapped up because it was getting late.
yeah,
We brought the kids up, because it was a long day for the kids. The car
and we want to get
ride.
our rest in for the next day. The next day was
No,
going to be the
no, hold on.
exploration.
Hold on, sir. Hold your horses. The kids went upstairs and they fell asleep quickly, so we decided to have a few drinks ourselves at
Went
the
down to the
bar
bar.
because we picked a hotel that had a restaurant and bar in it. That way, it made it easier for us to be able to still
Yeah,
stay where we wanted to stay and be where we wanted to
and
be.
have some actual quality time.
Yeah, because it's very hard for us to get that one-on-one like date time where without the mommy daddy.
With a mom and daddy without a certain microphone.
Yeah,
Cue.
something being just wanted to be authentically
Yeah.
us. So we were able to go down, and you had a couple strong drinks.
Yeah, you got some pink drink, and I got some
Strawberry.
bourbon thingy, and I took one taste of it. I'm like, ooh,
This is good.
this has a lot of bourbon in it. So I allegedly, I don't know how many I had, but I had a few.
3.
I had 3. I thought I had 2. Okay, cool. We met a nice gentleman there.
Yep.
Definitely not a redneck.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That conversation was wild.
He must have been sitting at that bar for a little bit because
Well, he went first, like introducing himself. I'm like, oh, you're at a bar.
yeah,
Why not? It's always,
you meet interesting people at bars.
and we're talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to see my uncle for the first like 15 years. He's died. It's like, oh, okay, this is sad.
That's an opener.
That's one way. And then
Yep.
next thing you know, we're talking about like trees with faces.
Oh yeah, he was showing us weird like Indian or old carvings that were in trees and rocks, and that he goes out and looking for.
Yeah, he's
them.
like, yeah, I just sit in the woods for like 5 hours. I'm something of a redneck. Like, yeah, we got this, buddy.
I'm from Kentucky, but I'm from New York, and I'm like, he was like,
The previous conversation that vaccines are bad, it kind of caught me on to you that you're a little bit of a redneck style.
oh yeah,
No offense to those who have that opinion. I'm just you're a certain dialect of people.
oh yeah, but he was just he was an interesting character.
Yeah.
But then we were able to hang out and have some one-on-one time. It was nice. The drinks were definitely strong. I had drink, and then I had something else.
Yeah, I remember you trying something else.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we're here. Let's try something else.
Yeah. Because drinks kind of go to my head now, so didn't have that much.
Apparently me too, just in a different way.
Yeah. But we were able to have a few, and then going upstairs and
Yeah, got a shower, and then I know when to go visit your sister. Why do we go visit her?
because CJ they forgot to pack toothpaste, and we had extra toothpaste.
Oh.
So they asked, and then CJ's like, "Bring my beers from your refrigerator," because they didn't have one.
Okay, so this is where I want to get listeners' opinions. Okay. So I did not wear boxers.
Oh my god.
Okay. I did not wear boxers.
You just had
I
on
just got a
basketball
shower. Yeah, I just
shorts.
got a shower. I was not gonna put on boxers, okay? Now, what is the goddamn difference between men not wearing boxers at night and women not wearing bras?
Okay, so first of all, women have boobs, and you can see how big somebody's boobs are.
But you can see how big someone's balls are too.
Okay, so you can see how with or without a bra, you can say she has boobs or she doesn't have boobs.
With my underwear on, you're just like, oh, that's a print.
But you were jumping around, and you were being a menace, and that thing was just flopping around, and every time you did something, Nicole was like, had to like close her eyes or move her head because she was laying down watching Jaws.
Dana.
But that's the thing, you were like, Dana, and you were dancing around because you were a little intoxicated.
That's a bit. Okay, but so what's in between that
But
and
it
like?
was within her vision, and it was just like
I'm just saying though,
Quasimodo, and you're ringing the
if
bell.
women can go without bras to be comfortable, men should be able to do the same thing with underwear.
Okay,
It's called equality.
you can, but expect for everybody to see everything.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. All right.
I mean, ooh,
I got no one to
nipples.
impress.
Everybody has nipples. I understand that.
Everyone's seen a penis. Okay.
Well,
let's be adults here. I feel kind of
are different shapes, sizes, girths, lengths, and so are
same with
balls.
tits.
Yes, but you see that regardless. Men, that's a very tucked in private location, where women, you can obviously tell if they have them or not.
Well, maybe they should wear more burqas.
Oh my goodness. But you were just flopping around, and it was one thing that you just could not unsee once you saw it. Like, it was you were the elephant in the room. You did how Lena does it.
Did I really do that? Oh my god, I'm such a terrible person.
But yes, so we went to go deliver their things, and then we went to bed. The next day was so fucking, every day was hotter than the one before. And we went down for breakfast, and the breakfast was really good at the hotel.
It was. Well, let's not forget the end of the night when I mooned the camera.
Oh yeah, you were a menace. You were pulling your pants down in the hallways, and then you chased me, and then you were just screaming shit down the hallway. You were a menace. However, next day we had breakfast, and then
breakfast was good.
Yeah, breakfast was good. And then we started our day with going to the museum.
Did we start right away going there, or did we? No, yeah, we didn't do any shopping. We
went straight there because we wanted to get things done before it got really hot.
Well, yeah, we went to the museum. And we first went to go see the movie, which Morgan Freeman, nice surprise.
Morgan Freeman's his voice is just like butter.
Sometimes, you know what? I'm gonna go make see if I can set automatic thing of his words and gel them together so I can play it when we have intercourse. Because that would just be amazing. That would just be amazing. I'd be so happy.
Yeah, so we ended up getting these bundle tickets. It was a
fucking solid deal.
It was. It really was.
You got
a short film, right?
The cyclorama, yeah.
And the cyclorama.
The entrance to the museum and a 2-hour bus tour, which $50. And the bus tour alone, to get by itself, is like $35-$40.
So everything was worth it.
Yeah.
So
especially in this fucking heat.
But the short film was really nice. It kind of gave you like the whole overview of the history of the Battle of Gettysburg and the turning point and everything else, and just a nice little refresher on what you learned in history class.
Yeah. And which we also learned is Alina can sit through these things.
Yes, so we're gonna test that theory. Going to the movies one day.
Stitch.
Oh, I was thinking How to Train Your Dragon.
That too.
Both of those movies have grabbed her attention.
We might have plans this weekend.
But yeah, so we watched the film, and then we went up a set of
stairs.
Escalator, and it brought us to this beautiful yet emotional room.
Yeah, it is the cyclorama. It's one of the largest oil paintings on display in the world. And it was done in like 1880, and it's been moved around different areas, but they have it there now. And it just 360 view of everything.
Of the battlefield,
and then they do this presentation where it's basically a light show.
Yeah.
But how the light show works with narration, how cannons start going off, and you see little cannons. Yeah, smoke. They're narrating like the sun is rising, suddenly things get brighter. Mm-hmm. It's very well done.
Yes.
However, Alina's little horsey, when they're talking about horses dying, was
God. Pushy. Nay. But it was so beautiful. But it was so tragic yet so beautiful, because the painting itself was obviously it was like you were brought to that point in history.
And not just like the painting itself, but how when
the presentation.
Underneath, how it went from the stage to just more like battlefield, and then just formed into it.
Oh yeah, the way they set everything up with the mini cannons and the rocks,
carriages and everything,
the stony rocks. It just made it look like.
Highly recommend that experience.
Yes, that was honestly, if I had to rate experiences in our time in Gettysburg, That was probably one of my favorite parts.
Oh yeah, hands down. It
It was
was
just
spectacular.
the visual, the artwork itself was so beautifully done, so detailed, so illustrated, and it just captured a moment in history in a 360-degree. The room was just head to toe, just it's like you were standing at the top and you were watching the battle in real time
Yeah.
and the way they did everything. And it was just, it is insane.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it.
That amount of talent to be able to put that together and to be able to paint like that, because the more you looked at it, the more you saw.
Yeah.
They had the carriages, they had the dirt roads, they had the trees, and they
They had a
had
horse penis. There's a horse that was like dead, but was like laying on its like back, and someone painted a horse penis.
down to the little details of
And it was a
everything.
big detail.
Well, there was even, if you looked zoomed into the like there was like a little like cottage or a little hut, and there was a woman working on a guy with no leg.
Yeah, it's kind of like traumatizing.
But I was looking at, like, I zoomed in and took my time to like kind of like, because I took a picture of every angle of the room just so I had them, because you know what, you're in that moment, but you want to be able to go back, and I'm sitting there zooming in, and it's crazy, like someone drew a fucking amputated leg
Yeah.
and painted that, like dead horses, the carriages, the people, someone carrying somebody, dead lifeless bodies, and you're just like seeing all this, and it was so sad, yet it was so breathtaking at the same
Very
time.
surreal.
Yeah, like this really happened. Like it's not just something you read about in a book. It just like it makes it so real. Everything that you learned, and then you go somewhere like this, and you're walking on land.
That was fought over like inch by inch.
Inch by inch, there was blood, there was DNA. I
Like
mean,
all the stories you hear. Actually, we'll get into it with the Shriver House. It just makes it so much more personal
yes.
because, like, look at all the shit that goes on today.
Yeah.
We see on the news, like, oh, okay, that sucks. And then you go to a place like this and you realize how impactful it is.
Yes.
And it just makes you just think, like, all the shit today, what these, like, people have nothing to do with anything that's going else on, what they're fucking dealing with.
You appreciate everything that we have now. There was moments that we were looking at things, because you got to think, we're traveling back hundreds of years, and the technology and the things that we have that we take for granted today, like plumbing and air
Oh, yeah.
conditioning and everything else that we have, they didn't have back then. Refrigerators and stoves, like they had to like warm things up in a goddamn wood pellet stove and do things, like it was crazy. It's crazy to think that how far we've come and the things that we take for granted, and we learned so much about things like that, and it was just insane.
Well,
But
speaking of how things were back then, the next we did was the actual museum part.
yes, which was so well, they did everything so well, like displays, the quotes on the walls, the
The
pictures.
personal stories, like
Yes.
I'm reading one, and it was just this family came back. I think it was the Shrivers. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if it was or not. I don't think it was. It was someone else, and they left their house during the battle, as many did, and they came back and they had a table that was flipped over, and there's a sharpshooter using it, and it had the bullet hole that went through and killed the guy. So
Hmm.
there's like, holy fuck! Imagine just leaving your house because there's a battle going on, and you know you don't want to die. You come back and you just see that.
You see a dead soldier in your house.
Yeah.
And that happened to a lot of people. That happened to a lot of people. Like they fled their homes for safety just to walk back home and just walk over bodies and come back to their home thinking they're going to find a safe haven from whatever trauma. Can you imagine the trauma people went through?
Especially back then, like you didn't have modern medicine. You didn't have ways of protecting against the diseases. Well, at some point during the Civil War, I think they started figuring that out. Clark Barton, she did something. But if you got shot, the bullet wound might not take you out, but the gangrene and the eventual amputation and all of that,
The
the
blood loss and
starvations, everything was more likely going to take your life than a bullet
yeah,
or an artillery shrapnel or anything like that.
the stories, the way that they had things set up, and it was done so nicely because it had it like from the beginning of like
It kind of
each
goes
section
before the
before
battle,
the battle, and then during.
towards the very end, and then afterwards, and you had like Abraham Lincoln's personal effects in there,
Yep.
copies of the Emancipation
Inclination.
Proclamation.
It was written on the walls, a huge mural of him.
And we're gonna post pictures in the following days here and there.
Yeah, I took a lot of pictures, but there was just monuments of just little things, like the touches that they had to make this just feel so surreal. They even had like these little electronic touch pads, active things that they had to make it it's just the battle, like
take you back like the one I did. It was gave you a list of things, and you had to pick what was necessary to take with you on the march. Did not win.
No,
did not win. Mostly, well, I did two of the things I needed. I got rid of. One was for liquor. I mean, come on. But if you think about it, liquor is an antiseptic, so I think they're on. I'm right. Who needs like extra meat rations when you can have liquor?
it was just it was so much fun, you know. And Alina enjoyed it, especially when she got to the giant horse.
Oh, the giant horse. Horsey, nay, nay.
And then the giant cannon. She liked that.
Oh yeah, she enjoyed that cannon.
I mean, it was a good time for her. I mean, she didn't understand, obviously, but it was good for like Cole was able to learn a lot, and he was able to appreciate certain things, and it just makes you realize what kind of person, like, it makes you look at our president now and be like, wow, they don't make them like they used to.
It kind of makes you look about the past few presidents.
I mean, Abraham Lincoln was just that man.
Yeah, he was.
Enough to get him killed for it.
There are a lot of things that people go back and it's like, okay, he fucked up in some things, and he did, but the man saved the Union. But just everything, like I said, we're going to post pictures of that museum, but just like you said, all the detail that goes into it. It's probably one of the best museums we've been into in a while.
Absolutely. Like I said, they just the work, the art, the way they set things up, the memorabilia things. They had a lot of artifacts and a lot of original things that came from there. Obviously, because when you got to think they're in that area, the more they build or they have or any land that they touch base on, they're gonna find more things that wasn't found before.
Yeah.
But like, get the whole like dedication to Lincoln and his role, the
other generals that were involved.
The generals that were involved. And I mean, they didn't just make it about, the ones that you learn about. Like, you learn about a lot, like there's so many other people that were involved that they touch base and dedicate that personal time to.
And what I like, it wasn't just like, yeah, go Union, 100%, we were right. Yeah. It was also honoring the Confederate side, honoring what their losses, whether you agree or disagree why they fought. You're still 18, 19, 20-year-olds going to war.
Yeah.
Whether or not they agreed for why, they were still doing it.
There were thousands of lives that were lost.
And they were very open. They're like, hey, yeah, the Confederates, they did some bad things while they're up here. We burned the South.
Yeah.
Which is something I think a lot of people realize, later in the battle, like General Tecumseh Sherman burnt South Carolina to a crisp.
Yeah.
Just as a fuck you, because they're the first state to secede.
Add insult to injury, they kind of just like took that and just with the little pettiness things that were done. I mean, at that point in time, you're angry, you're fighting, you lost a lot of your men, because it took a long time for the Union to make a turn, just like in Gettysburg. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like at a point they're like, enough is enough. Let's show some victory. Let's just kick you while you're down and just set your whole fucking town on fire.
Well, from like all the reading and whatnot done, we kind of played pussy ball when it came to the Civil War. And Robert E. Lee First of all, he's a West Point graduate. He was one of the top generals in the army before the whole, secession.
He was
He
playing
was fucking
chess.
smart.
He was playing chess before the Union caught on.
Yeah. And, I'll get into it distilled, but after Gettysburg, the Union general, Meade, he had a chance to follow them and crush them. And he said, nah. And it wasn't the first time. It happened in other battles where the Union could have pursued and inflicted more damage, but they just didn't.
They didn't.
And it took till, Gettysburg, they say, is a turning point because more people on the Union side felt more motivated to actually do this. First of all, their homeland was being invaded now.
Yes.
But also now they saw this great Union victory on their home turf. Let's go finish the war.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it was getting to a kind of an idea like, do we really need to die?
Yeah.
For the South to stay here if they don't want to?
Exactly.
You had more calls for volunteers. This is where the federal income tax came into play. So people are, starting to lose money to help support this war effort. Whereas you look at it, we had all these advantages. You had an increased rail system, you had better weapons, all more manpower, but yet the South was prevailing because
there was a few mistakes made by General Lee, but I think that things would not be the same if he did not make those mistakes. The war would have been ended very differently.
What we saw, and they kind of hinted at it, is during the third day of battle, Lee gave an order, but somehow
translation.
It was, and I do have those notes for distilled, which probably be fucking part 5 at this point, where someone was supposed to attack somewhere and they didn't. They went somewhere else, which allowed the Union to drive right up there.
Yeah, it changed the course of the whole entire war. And you learn a lot about that in the museum. Now, I do recommend that if anybody goes to visit, that they do get the whole package, because here we are talking about everything that we've seen thus far, and we haven't even touched the battlefield.
No, we haven't touched the battlefield,
which alone is absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, it was the 2-hour bus tour where you see everything at the walk around place. It was insane. Put everything that we talk about into perspective.
Yes, it puts a lot into perspective, especially you don't understand the mass, like the area, the width span, and it's just open field, and if you don't know, you don't know, but all these open fields that are dedicated and just left, it's just filled with DNA.
Yeah.
It's like a massive memorial graveyard with that there's some people that still was never found, and bodies are still probably there.
Absolutely. Like you were telling me the way down there where you were told, when they're doing road work, they just found more bodies.
Well, that pathway that they made for all the buses to go through, and when they went to go make the pavement for that, and they were making it a little wider, that way they have cars and buses that can go through at the same time. As they were widening the road, they came across human remains, and they came across more bullets and things from pendants and stuff from that time, which you see in all these museums and all these houses and stuff now, which is insane.
Blows my mind about the museum, because you go to a lot of museums, you see historical pieces and whatnot. Or here replicas. It was like, this belonged to this person.
Yes,
we have proof of this. There's stories of how people surrendered and died in a camp.
Yep.
People's journals, people's personal effects. It wasn't just, we found a button somewhere. No, this fucking lapel belonged to this person in this unit, in this regiment.
Yep.
And this is exactly what happened to them.
Yep.
Every little placard, every little display shared something that was very personal.
Yeah. It makes it more human. It wasn't this is an artifact from war, or this is from this time period. No, it says this belonged to this person who was born at this time period and then died during war. It gives you a whole entire, it gives it life.
Yeah.
It gives something so small a story.
Yeah.
And that's what's so just touching with everything in this town, that everything has a story, and everything and everyone was affected by a war. It wasn't just about two sides fighting, it was about everybody in that town. which I feel like we can talk about this forever, and we haven't even gotten to the tour.
Yes. So we made a last minute decision here, which we kind of had a feeling was going to happen.
Yeah.
We're breaking this down to a part one and part two. A, because I'm getting a little sleepy.
And 2, we still haven't covered everything from
Yeah, there's still
our
maybe another
3-day stay.
Yeah, hour long. This is like day and a half here.
Yeah.
So there's still a lot more. And plus, don't want to make an episode that's 2 hours long.
To where you guys
Gets-
lose interest in
yeah.
listening to us.
Makes it easier. Also on the editing side, make things easier. So yeah, stay tuned for part two, especially like this. Part two, we're gonna go into the bus tour that we went on,
More
the
food,
little
more
exploration we went
drinks.
to, yeah, food, drinks, fucking scented the second night there. Oh my god. Fuck, I got geeked.
Yep.
Got geeked.
And then our final day in the Shriver House.
Yeah, Shriver House tour. But yeah, stay tuned for all that. I guess we'll try to aim to do that kind of close to this episode so it's there.
Yeah.
Besides that, there's not really any other announcements we have. Nothing really changed since our last episode. Distilled, the next few episodes will be on this battle. We have, I think this weekend we're still record for Billy's podcast, the Hey Remember That podcast. And then we have to make another episode for Wild Whispers, which I know you have the thing for West Virginia.
Yep.
I'm still working on the final touches of the Ella Greenberg case,
Yep.
which haven't done work in a week because we've been doing this shit.
Everything and everywhere. So keep
What's-
an eye on those socials.
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep an eye out for part 2. We'll get it out as soon as we can.
I mean, this episode will probably be out, let's say Tuesday, probably maybe Thursday at the latest. So part 2 will probably be out sometime during the weekend or Monday.
Yep. And if you have any questions, or if there's anything you're interested, or any personal stories that happened in Gettysburg that you want us to touch base on or learn more about, we would love to dig into that, because this whole town is full of stories that will touch you in some way, shape, or form, or give you some kind of insight in what happened in that time.
That reminds me, if you cannot find us on our socials, I always mean to say this and I always forget we have it. We have an email. You can send requests to, questions, comments, stuff like that. 3buds@swirlyproductions.com. So if you can't reach on our socials for whatever reason, I know we have, audience in several countries. Please send us, email there. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Now that life in general has kind of calmed down, we're able to be more active with things. Fucking send it. I don't know.
Yeah. Until next time,
We'll fucking send it.